understanding, inclusive solution, making sure that everyone is on board when you're making or when you are deciding. Shared responsibility, meaning holding everyone accountable and making sure that everyone shares their experiences and they are on board with the decision. All right, now let's go to each of the functions. All right, so first is encourage full participation. So let's talk about the first role. Okay, a basic problem in group meetings or trainings or group decision making activities is that people sometimes don't say what they are really thinking. They stay silent. So it's hard to do when the group's response is likely to be hostile or dismissive. So people don't say what they're thinking, especially if these are the reactions that you will get from your participants or from other members in that meeting. So let's say someone would say, impossible, it won't work, no way. Kasi simula pa lang ng meeting, wala na. Hurry up, we're running out of time. Or if they say, di ba na-cover na natin to last week? Right? Or what does that have to do with anything that we're talking about here? Right? So if you are as a facilitator, if you're already hearing this, you have to step up and make sure that you encourage everyone and you prevent statement like this that discourages other members in the group to think aloud or to think out loud. All right. So your role as a facilitator, you draw people out and help them to feel heard. Okay, because if you will have reactions like this, then they will all the more that they wouldn't really talk and share their experiences, and of course you will not have that support. Okay, from the group or from the person who doesn't speak up. You also make the room or you make room for quiet members and reduce the incidence of premature criticism. So the meeting has just started and all these comments are already flying around. So make sure that you control that because again, it will discourage the ones who are silent. Diba? Usually, someone, if they're already hearing these stuff, they would just not talk because of fear that they will be criticized, and you help everyone to keep thinking instead of shutting down. So by doing all these things, doing the three things that I've mentioned, the quality of the group's participation will vastly improve because everyone shares their ideas and you are promoting a safe environment for each member of your team to share their experiences. All right. So let's say, have you encountered this? Team building meeting, di ba? This happens commonly in team building meeting or in budget allocation meeting where everyone has their vested interest, right? So a group cannot do its best thinking if the members don't understand one another, if they have their own thoughts, they have their own opinions. Most people find it difficult to detach from their fixed positions or from their vested interest to actually listen to what others are saying. Kasi in their mind, they're already stuck with their idea and they don't want to change anymore. They get caught up in amplifying and they're defending their own perspectives. Now, it's your role as a facilitator to make sure that others also speak up and share their thoughts so that we would be able to see the other side or what others are thinking. Okay, so that's the first role of a facilitator, to make sure that everyone participates. Now, moving on to the second role, mutual understanding. So, a facilitator, he or she helps the group in realizing that sustainable agreements, meaning some agreements that lasts, these are agreements that are built on a foundation of mutual understanding. So these are agreements that are made not because of just one person, but everyone was able to contribute into making that decision. All right. So long as you get the buy-ins and the mutual understanding of each member of your team, that decision will stand the test of time. You help the members see that thinking from each other points of view is priceless. Okay? Also, the facilitator accepts the inevitability of misunderstanding. You will always have that scenario wherein one or two persons will clash. Okay? And you understand that these clashes are stressful for everyone involved, not just with the two-person, but also those who are in the same meeting or in the same training as the two persons that are clashing. So, your facilitator knows that people in distress, they need support. They need to be treated respectfully. You have to stay impartial, meaning you don't take sides. Honor all points of view as valid, and you keep on listening to other people or to each member of the group until they have confidence. All right. And you also instill confidence and you instill confidence in that other person who doesn't really participate. Okay. So in meetings, or most of the time, it's either my way or your way. Sometimes this happens a lot. People are entrenched in a conventional mindset if you're solving problems or you're solving conflicts. Okay? So they do it either my way or your way. As a result, most problem solving discussions, uh, they actually result into critiques or rationalizations. So participants are very attached to their fixed positions and they really work double time to defend their own interest. That's why another role of a facilitator is to make sure that you foster inclusive solutions. Now, what do we mean by this? An experienced facilitator, they know how to help a group search for ideas that incorporates not just one person's point of view, but everyone's point of view. So this is a very challenging task, for a facilitator, because oftentimes the only person in the room that has even considered the possibility that inclusive alternatives increase or exist is the facilitator. He's the only one who considers the possibility of an inclusive alternative. To accomplish this goal, the facilitator draws from knowledge acquired by studying the theory and practice of collaborative problem solving. So he knows, or he or she knows, the steps to make a sustainable agreement. What are these steps? First, you know how to help the group break free from restrictive business as usual discussions, and you engage them in divergent thinking, meaning have have the other members air out their thoughts. Okay, divergent thinking, not just one-sided thinking, but divergent thinking. You also help the group survive the grown zone. All right. So what's the grown zone? Has anyone here experienced a meeting wherein everyone is just so fed up and they just want to give up? At that peak moment we're in, ayoko na. Ayoko na. Bahala na kayo. Di ba? We all have that. We all have those meetings, right? And that cannot be avoided. We will always have that. A good facilitator will engage everyone, will have everyone share their ideas to prevent that from happening. Or if it's unpreventable, to survive that moment. Because once you have survived the grown zone, this is where the productivity and effective thinking comes in. Okay? So, you also know how to help the group formulate creative proposals. Okay? So, not decisions yet, but proposals that will reflect the the perspectives of others. And you know how to bring the discussion into a closure. So, 'Di ba? Nandun ka na sa point na pag-gather ng ideas, help them survive the peak of misunderstanding, and then um, make them form or bring them to a closure. So in short, a facilitator understands how to build sustainable agreement. Remember, a sustainable agreement is when everyone is accountable and when everyone has a shared responsibility into making that agreement. All right. Any questions so far? Are we good? Do a thumbs up if you're still okay, or if you don't have any questions. All right. So we've already covered 3 roles. Now we'll move on to the last one. So, according to Dale Carnegie, people support a world they help create. What do you mean by this? The choice to be passive is often a good what do you call this? The choice to be passive or to be not participative in a meeting seems to be a very good idea, no, because of the negativity or the negative comments. It may not be worth the bother if, let's say, you think that nothing I can say would matter anyway.